The two breaking stories just dropped and left Steelers fans seriously scratching their heads. First, a direct clash with ESPN blew up right after the nail-biting win over the Vikings in Dublin, and Aaron Rodgers didn't hold back. On the other side, the team's injury situation hit red alert, with another key name from the secondary going down. These are the latest Steelers updates, and they shake things up behind the scenes, hit the team's depth hard, and even mess with fan confidence moving forward. And yes, all of this came during a win. Let's start with the drama involving the media. Aaron Rodgers had a few things to get off his chest after the Steelers' nail-biter win over the Vikings in Dublin, and this time, he turned his sights on ESPN, and he didn't hold back. So here's the deal. Pittsburgh made the transatlantic trip late in the week, landing in Ireland on Friday for a Sunday showdown. Rodgers, like a few of his teammates, wasn't thrilled about that timeline. Not because he's trying to vacation mid-season, but because jet lag is real, man. And yes, the Vikings reportedly had to follow the same travel schedule, so technically it was a level playing field, but the fatigue was written all over that fourth quarter. Rodgers had already mentioned earlier in the week that he would have preferred getting to Ireland a few days sooner, not just to adjust to the time zone, but to soak in some of that Irish charm and maybe take a stroll around Dublin. Pretty harmless stuff. But then ESPN ran with it, and according to Rodgers, they twisted it just enough to grind his gears. ESPN wrote a clickbait headline taking my words out of context, which isn't the first time, Rodgers said in his post-game presser, clearly fed up. He explained that anytime his teams have traveled overseas, he's always preferred to arrive early, especially when there's a bye week coming up right after. Seems logical enough, right? But ESPN, in his eyes, spun it into something it wasn't. And if there's one thing Rodgers doesn't tolerate, it's being misrepresented. He wasn't just complaining either. The man wanted to soak in some of Ireland's history, see the sights, maybe catch a little culture before strapping the pads on. But instead, it was all business, and not the kind he enjoys when the media starts twisting the narrative. This isn't exactly new territory for Rodgers. The dude has had a rocky relationship with the media for years now, frequently calling out reporters and outlets for what he sees as cheap shots or sensationalist takes. The beef's become part of his brand, and you can bet it won't stop anytime soon. Probably not even after he retires. It's not just Rodgers either. Coach Mike Tomlin even dipped out of a post-game presser mid-question when an ESPN reporter brought up his contract. Clearly, the team's not feeling the worldwide leader in sports right now. Meanwhile, team owner Art Rooney too tried to smooth things over during the week, saying the travel plan was a football decision agreed upon by both teams and the NFL. But then, boom. An NFL exec shot that down, claiming the league had nothing to do with the timing. And when your players are saying they wanted to leave earlier too? Yeah, that football decision line starts looking real shaky. To be fair, the Steelers got the win. But they almost coughed up a comfy 24-6 lead, and you could see the effects of the jet lag, guys cramping up, DBs rotating in and out with muscle tweaks. Arriving earlier could have helped with all of that. Instead, they powered through and held on 24-21. And if you thought that was already a lot, hold on. Another serious injury just hit the defense, and this news just dropped. The injury bug just won't leave Pittsburgh alone, man. The Steelers might have pulled off a gritty win over the Vikings across the pond in Dublin, but they're limping out of Week 4 with another banged-up cornerback, their third of the day. This time it was Brandon Eccles hitting the turf during Minnesota's second-to-last drive, needing some medical attention before eventually walking off under his own power. But the damage had already been done. Literally the next play, Carson Wentz uncorked a bomb to Jordan Addison for 81 yards on a busted coverage that had Steelers fans holding their heads. That score brought the Vikings right back into it, cutting the lead to 24-21 just before the 2-minute warning. Luckily for Pittsburgh, the comeback bid fizzled out. Now Eccles was already stepping into a bigger role these past 2 weeks, filling in for Joey Porter Jr., who's still nursing that pesky hamstring. And before going down, Eccles was out there grinding. 54 defensive snaps, 3 tackles, and giving up just 23 yards on 2 catches over 3 targets, according to the PFF crew. Not bad at all. But here's the kicker. Eccles wasn't the only one dealing with pain. Both Jalen Ramsey and Darius Slay Jr. also picked up knocks during the game, but somehow made it back onto the field like nothing happened. Tough dudes. Eccles, for his part, wasn't even a big piece of the puzzle early in the season, just 33 defensive snaps through the first 2 weeks. But he showed out in Week 3 with a clutch interception and a game-saving tackle against New England. That momentum carried into this week, until the injury struck. The guy's journey is worth noting too. A sixth-rounder out of Kentucky, drafted by the Jets in 2021, he spent 4 seasons in New York before landing a $6 million deal with Pittsburgh this past March. Across 57 games and 19 starts, he racked up 122 tackles and picked off 5 passes. The dude's proven he belongs. Right now, there's no official word on what kind of injury he's dealing with, but we should know more soon. Fortunately for the Steelers, the bye week is knocking at the perfect time. With Porter Jr., Eccles, Slay, and Ramsey all banged up, the extra rest might be exactly what they need before squaring off with the Browns in Week 6. Let's just hope the whole secondary doesn't show up in bubble wrap. A win's a win, but there's stuff off the field you just can't ignore. Rodgers and the crew are right to demand better structure, and with all these injuries, the bye week couldn't come sooner. Hit subscribe so you don't miss a thing from the Steelers.